Horse racing is too complicated. It's not for women. You have to gamble to enjoy it, and it's bad for the horses. These are some of the most common things that people believe about horse racing. And hey, I understand why people may think that way, but I'm here to say they're just myths. Today, I'm breaking down the 8 biggest misconceptions about horse racing, not to argue, but to explain what the sport actually is. Myth number 1, horse racing is too complicated. People look at a racing form and think, this is impossible to understand. And honestly, that reaction makes sense. The first time I saw a racing form, I was at an off-track betting parlor, OTB, with my father. I was studying statistics in college and he took me there and he was like, you're going to get this right away and find some winners. Guess what? I did find some winners, but it was dumb luck. I chose by name, but that was then and this is now. And today I open up that racing form with excitement and I want you to as well. See, here's the truth. Horse racing looks complicated because you're seeing all that information at once, not because you need all that information to really enjoy the sport. You don't need to understand pace figures and speed ratings or breeding charts to really just enjoy a race. At its core, racing is about watching athletes, horses, and humans compete in real time, with that strategy unfolding right in front of you. Most fans, they don't start with all that data. Oh no, they start with curiosity. The complexity comes later if you want it. Racing isn't complicated, it's layered, and you get to decide how deep you want to go. And when you are ready to begin that journey, now you have a guide, me. See, those things that seem complex, like the pace setup or speed ratings or odds, they don't have to be when you have someone that can explain it in the right way. The second myth, you have to gamble to enjoy horse racing. Now, let's be clear, betting does exist in this sport, but it is not the point of the sport. There are millions of people that really enjoy racing without ever placing a bet. They come for the pageantry, the athleticism, the excitement, the rivalries, the horses themselves. Now, you don't have to gamble to enjoy other sports. You may not gamble on the Olympics. You may enjoy Formula One, never place a bet, and you certainly don't have to gamble to sit back and relax and enjoy a football game on Sunday. And horse racing is no different. Betting is just one option away that some fans choose to engage, not a requirement. If the only thing you know about racing is the gambling, you miss some of the best parts. What is it that people love? Well, if you're going to the races, you may be drawn into the social and fashion scene. Sure, there is the pageantry of the Kentucky Derby with all the fashion and the big hats, but you also have that backyard picnic area fun at Saratoga. There's a reason they say that a bad day at the races sure beats a good day anywhere else. The other thing you may be into is the drama and the strategy. Every race is only 2 minutes or less, and that is pure adrenaline excitement. What other sport contains such split-second strategy decision-making? And if you're handicapping, which just means trying to figure out the races, it could be like a puzzle, an intellectual challenge. And third, this may be the most important, the horses themselves, which leads me into the next myth, that there is no emotional connection to this sport, that there's no team that keeps me coming back week after week, allowing me to connect with and root for them. Myth number 3, there's no emotional connection. And this may be the biggest myth of all. Fans do follow horses across seasons. They celebrate victories, they mourn losses, and they remember performances years later. Do you know how many people have come up to me to tell me how they remember Secretariat winning the Belmont and the Triple Crown? Or how many tears were shed about the story of Cody Dorman and Cody's Wish, the boy that needed the horse and the horse that won for him? And if you don't know that story, then go find it on YouTube. because the bond between horse and human, between effort and outcome, is deeply emotional. There is a reason us fans have pictures and paintings of horses all in our homes. They inspire us, they awe us. And if racing had no heart, it would not endure. If this is already changing how you see horse racing, go ahead and hit like so YouTube shows this to people who think, hey, it's just gambling. And also subscribe if you want more behind the scenes truths like this. Now, on to a topic that's the most difficult to tackle, and that is myth number 4: horse racing is bad for the horses. This is one of the more emotional myths, and it deserves a thoughtful response. I'm gonna be honest, fatalities do exist in the equine world. The death of a racehorse is just devastating. It's devastating for the fans, the owner, the trainer, the jockey, the groom, everybody who was part of that horse's family. And that is why the industry has invested in safety reform. We love the horses too, and that's why this sport is committed to safety. Starting in 2009, data has been collected by the Jockey Club, and it has shown a significant decline in equine deaths to 0.9 per 1,000 starts. Racehorses, they are not disposable machines. They are elite athletes with entire teams dedicated to their care. Trainers, grooms, vets, farriers, caretakers who know them intimately. The industry has committed itself through stricter safety protocols and has leveraged research to decrease the rate of fatalities. The Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Act was passed in 2020 and has a governing body that provides testing and oversight and has equine safety and welfare at its center. But Maura, aren't horses being forced to run? No, horses are bred to run. Horses are prey animals, so in the wild, they take flight as a means of protection. And they're also herd animals, so they enjoy running in a group, similar to racing. In fact, if you put them in a natural social context, they're going to race each other. They are intelligent, sociable, and they also weigh like 1,100 pounds. So do you really think you can make them run if they don't want to? So if they're not being forced to run, why do you need a whip? Well, first let me start by saying this. Those whips, they are highly regulated with tight specifications. All whips are inspected by safety officers to ensure that they comply with the regulations. Stewards, they watch every jockey in every race to ensure that they use the whip appropriately and safely. The whips are not designed to inflict pain. They're designed to make a popping sound on the rump. The rule book now states that a jockey can only use the whip 6 times during a race and no more than twice in succession. Riders, they cannot raise their wrists above their helmet prior to striking a horse, and they may not hit the horse anywhere other than their hindquarters and on their shoulders. And I'm going to talk about why they would hit them on their shoulders in just a second. These strikes on their hindquarters, they're meant to encourage the horses, not to hurt the horses. The other reason that jockeys use whips is for their own safety. The horses are going at top speed and they could be spooked or distracted, and that can endanger both the rider and the horse. So the jockey may take the whip and slap the horse on the shoulder just to bring their attention back to the jockey to keep them in control of the horse during the race. And again, not done to inflict pain, just bring that attention back to the jockey. But what happens to many of these horses after their racing career, the ones that don't go into breeding? Well, many get a second career. They go into therapy, show jumping, eventing, or simply have happy retirement lives. The industry has been committed to comprehensive aftercare for horses when they transition off the track. Rehabilitation, retraining, rehoming. The Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance, they oversee aftercare at a national level. There's many ways that you can get involved if you want to. You could donate to a retirement center. You could volunteer at one, or you can just go visit one like one of my favorites, old friends in Kentucky. Like any sport involving animals or humans, safety and welfare matter. In the industry, it continues to evolve. Are there bad actors? 100% honest with you. Of course, there are bad actors. There are bad actors in every industry, in every sport. But what you need to remember is that the people who love the sport, they have helped improve the sport. Caring about horses is not anti-racing. Central to it. Myth number 5, horse racing is only for the rich. Yes, there are wealthy owners, like in every professional sport, but most people in racing, they're just working class professionals, lifelong fans, and everyday people who love the horses and the competition. You could attend races, you can follow horses, you can really enjoy the sport and never have a luxury box or a designer outfit. And did you know that if you wanted to own a racehorse, you could for just a small price? Syndication allows fans to be owners. There are horse racing syndicates that allow fans to buy into horses for as low as, get this, $50. And two that I belong to, My Racehorse and Commonwealth. You'll log into their apps, you see what horses they have up for syndication, you look at the pedigree, who the trainer is going to be, where they will race, and then you just purchase shares like you would do a stock. Once you do that, you then begin to get updates on your horses. You go and watch your horses run, and if you're lucky, you could potentially end up in the winner's circle. And of course, you earn a share of the winnings. But this is not a get rich thing. Oh, no, no, no. I would think of this as an enhanced experience for the super fan. Now, I know what you're thinking. These horses, they're not the kind that would end up winning the Derby. Oh, but let me correct you on that. Because we had Authentic in 2020, Syndicated Horse wins the Kentucky Derby. In 2023, Mage wins the Kentucky Derby. A Commonwealth syndicated horse. A lot of my friends were in the winner's circle of the Kentucky Derby. And then there Seize the Gray. I owned one teeny tiny share of Seize the Gray through My Racehorse, and in 2024, he wins the Preakness. Big dreams, they belong right here. And racing belongs to anybody who wants to be a part of it. Myth number 6, horse racing is not for women. That couldn't be further from the truth. Just look at me and look around you at the track. Women are everywhere in horse racing. Owners, trainers, jockeys, exercise riders, analysts, vets, and of course, fans. The idea that racing is a men's sport usually comes from outdated media portrayals, not from the actual people who live and work in the sport every day. Let's just highlight some of the women of the sport who made an indelible mark. Let's start with a trailblazer, Penny Chenery, the owner of Secretariat. In her time, there were not very many women in the sport, but she took over her father's stable operation. She made key business decisions, and she guided Secretariat, boom, into the history books as the premier Triple Crown champion. Her leadership and her business skills made her a role model. Now, famous female trainers today, they include Jenna Antonucci, who is the first woman to train a winner of a Triple Crown Stakes when she won the Belmont Stakes with Arcangelo. Others that you may see at the races today are Brittany Russell, Cherie DeVoe, Linda Rice. Famous women jockeys include Diane Crump, who in 1969 became the first female jockey to ride in a parimutuel race, and in 1970, the first female jockey to compete in the Kentucky Derby. Then there's Julie Crone, who in 1993, she became the first woman to win a Triple Crown race when she rode Colonial Affair in the Belmont Stakes. Others include the smiling assassin Katie Davis and Sophia Vives, just to name a few. I also want to point out the Horse Racing Women's Association. Their goal is to engage, elevate, and invest in women of the sport. Horse racing rewards knowledge, intuition, patience, and connection. If you love animals, competition, storytelling, this sport always has a place for you. Myth number 7, horse racing's old, it's outdated, it's dying even. Yes, horse racing does have history, but that's a strength, not a weakness. Horse racing in the US is one of the most highly attended and wagered sporting industries. The Kentucky Derby draws 150,000 each year. Compare that to the Super Bowl of 60 to 70,000. In 2024, get this, there were 35,000 races. And in the past year, money wagered during the 2 days of Breeders' Cup was over 180 million. While the sport does date back to 700 BC in ancient Greece, today it is constantly evolving. New technology, data analysis, training methods, and even fan experiences. One of the biggest advancements we've seen in technology is real-time data with sensors and GPS tracking devices. They're used to monitor speed, stride length. Trainers use this real-time feedback not only to improve performance, but also safety. And other advancements we have seen with training include equine treadmills and hydrotherapy pools. And these are only a couple of the innovations. Tradition gives racing meaning, but innovation keeps it alive. A sport does not survive for centuries by refusing to change. Myth number 8, if you didn't grow up with it, you just can't get into it. Hey, everybody's got to start somewhere. Nobody's born knowing how to read the racing form or understand strategy. Fans are made through exposure, curiosity, and guidance. Horse racing welcomes new fans every day, and the learning curve is far more forgiving than people expect. You don't need a background. You just need an open mind and a guide. And that's why I'm here, to help you step into the world of racing, explore the thrill and emotional connection to the sport, to teach you how to read that racing form when you're ready, to decode all that insider lingo, and most of all, to bring the stories of each horse to life. If you're looking for that gal pal at the track, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if one of these myths surprised you, comment, tell me which one, because I'm going to read every single one. Now, let's go racing.